of the valley, the bright and morning star, the great I am that I am, omnipotent, omnipresent, Father, we honor you. Ọba tí ń gbàdọ̀ bá ní àwọn ọba tí ń fi ọba jẹ, ògbénu kújú láti òkìkí elédùnmáà. We worship, we worship the one who is seated in heaven and he made the earth to fill. Lord, we worship, we shall see your might. Hallelujah to your holy name. Glorious God, beautiful God, excellent, excellent King. We worship. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus, for another opportunity given to us, oh Lord, even to worship. It is indeed a great honor. It is indeed a great opportunity. Father, we worship. Thank you, Jesus. Lord, we love you. Father, we worship. Celebrate Jesus. Celebrate Jesus, church. Celebrate Jesus. Celebrate Jesus. Oh, celebrate my Jesus. Hallelujah. Father, we worship. Oh, for it to me like oh, and again, my color. Oh, we just see me, let's say. Oh, again, my color. Oh, fire, singing like oh. Ayo, number one, Lord, you are forever. Are you ready? Is somebody excited in the house? Come on out, everybody. You're not dancing. Oh yeah, are you ready? Put on your dancing. Let's celebrate. Oh yeah, celebrate. Oh, for it to be end. Oh, it is my color. Oh, we don't see me better. Oh, it is my body show. Oh, my up to me also. I know, yeah. Number one, hero. Oh, you are for it. Everybody, oh, we don't see me better. Oh, my, don't give me I will sing a new song unto the Lord. Cause it's matter over me, he's above me. How excellent is your kindness unto me. And me out of wonderful, but you are the I will sing hallelujah. Blessed be your name every day. I only just because you are just so much for me. I like that how I go. I need it already. 1, 2, 3, go! Oh, praise to be loved. Somebody shout hallelujah. Oh, he got back on that. Oh, God, I come on, you come on. Hallelujah.
Good evening. Good evening, house. Good evening. Good evening. It's lovely having everyone on board today. This is another beautiful weekend, and today lecture is going to be on revision and the topic maneuver, which we did in our last week. Please, if you're online, you can drop a comment on live box for us to know who and who are online. And if you have any question, you're feel free to call the number on the screen board, which is 620-586-038. Or if you're interested in being a member or a student, you can also call for us to tell you how to be. Or you need any of our materials in order to pass, you can call us and we'll get the material posted to you wherever you're living, even if you're outside Spain. And again, we make it real, we make it happen, we make it possible for as many that are giving excuses of job or time and all the stuff. So at your convenient time, we'll prepare you for exam and we'll make it real now. And so if the ball is in your court, you can be able to choose if you're ready or you're not ready. And let me just tell you, it's not right for you to pay someone to do exam for you, because you can do it. The time you put into it matters. You can do it. It's just a matter of time. You can do it. So to the lecture, we're going to run chapter 3, which is maneuver, which I explained in the class with students. The reason why we have this weekend class is because just for us to have a revision and on live class with the teacher live, so that you can be able to ask your question, you can be able to call in, or you can be able to post live question, and you can be able to prepare in case you study and some things are not clear. So the topic we're taking is maneuver. That happens to be our number 3 chapter, the 3rd chapter in our manual, which we teach in the class. And somebody might ask, where is that class? We have the online class, which is more convenient for everyone. So I just said it, that if you are interested to be a student, you can call us on the number posted, and you get used to it. You understand more information about what we're doing. And we have people passing every week. Every week we have tremendous testimony from people, and it's so lovely having people joining us and getting this thing in during the season of pandemic. And it has been so wonderful on the street. Our report on the street has been so marvelous. So the topic today is maneuver. What is maneuver? Maneuver is any movement I make while driving. Any movement I make while driving. So, the mentality that most people have carried to exam hall is that maneuver is you having a kind of lateral movement. No. Maneuver is not limited to lateral movement. Maneuver is when you start your car moving, it's maneuver. When you turn left, it's maneuver. When you turn right, it's maneuver. When you make a U-turn, it's maneuver. When you make any lateral movement, which we'll talk about, which is the overtaking, it's maneuver. When you stopping and you're doing parking, is also maneuver. That is why a question in the exam will ask, is parking considered to be maneuver? Yes, parking is maneuver. Many student goes to the exam and they fail this question, because when they ask, is parking and stopping considered to be maneuver, they said no, and they failed the question. So I'm telling you today is yes. But remember one thing, that we're moving again after being stopped, after being ordered to stop by a police officer. You are stopped by the police officer and you tend to move again, or by a sign, maybe like traffic light stops you and you want to start moving again, or you're oblique to stop by a traffic light. Remember, that one is not considered as a maneuver. It is not considered a maneuver. So when the sign stops you and you are about moving again, that is not considered as a maneuver. And again, there are following sequence which you have to observe when carrying out maneuver. Remember I told you Maneuver is the movement. They are the movements you made while driving. So before you carry out this maneuver, you have to follow a sequence which you should observe. The sequence are always three. They are called RIM, 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 RIM. So even in your practical, you have to have this in mind. You have to be conscious of this, because in every maneuver, anything you're doing, driving on the roadway, you must apply these three things, which is RIM. The first one is the R is your rear view mirror. Your rear view mirror. What is the rear view mirror? These are the mirrors which you have that makes you to have a picture, the clear picture of your rear, of your back. You know, we have two mirror outside the exterior, and we have one mirror interior. I'm not going to teach you about mirror more today, but I want to tell you that we have three mirrors, the two exterior and the one interior. So they make us to visualize the rear part of the vehicle. So it's very important for you to have control of this mirror, well adjusted when driving, and you watch them very well before you carry out any maneuver. The second one is the high. You know, remember I told you RIM. The second one is the indicate. You indicate your intention. Always try to indicate, whether through arm or through light. You know, you want to go to the left, you trafficate to the left. You want to go to the right, you trafficate to the right. You want to do anything, you have to indicate your intention on the roadway, which is very, very important. And the last one is the aim, because I said RIM is the maneuver itself. So you space management, you manage everything on the roadway. You just don't do your maneuver without all the two previous explanation which I did. So it's very, very important for you to understand. And remember, as a general rule, you can use and you can use the light, but in a place where arm and light contradict themselves, the harm prevail. The harm prevail, because your light sometimes might malfunction and it will be giving a wrong report, a wrong signal to other users. But when a sign that is done with the harm are more okay than the one of the harm. So we have some virtual sign which we understand. Visual sign, when you want to turn to the left, remember you can use your indicator, which is the left indicator, or you extend your arm outstretched, and the palm will be facing downward. The palm facing downward, outstretched. I'm talking about the driver. You outstretch your arm and the palm will be facing downward. Now we have, if you're turning to the right, remember you can use your trafficator on the right side, or you bend your arm as a driver. You bring out your arm and you bend it as a driver, which means you're planning to turn to the right. And if you're going to reverse, is it that you put you engage your reverse gear, which will show a reverse light behind, or you extend the same arm, but the palm face backward. The palm will face backward, so that anyone driving behind will know that this man is planning to turn to reverse backward because the light is not functioning. And remember, when you're stopping or you're braking, what you just need to do is that you apply brake. You apply brake. When you apply your brake, you apply your brake softly, gently. You realize that there's a red light showing behind. That red light is telling the users behind you that you're planning to stopping or braking, or you try to bring out your arm up and down, moving it up and down repeatedly. Means that you're bringing down speed and you're about braking. That is maneuver. That is the sign which you have, which are the visual signs. Now we have the acoustic signal. What are the acoustic signal? The acoustic signal, they are kind of sound that we emit out of our vehicle. You know, it must be continuous, it must be uniform, it must be sufficient intense, which means it shouldn't be annoying kind of sound. It shouldn't be shrill or musical kind of sound are forbidden, you know, on the roadway, you know. So when your horn is coming, your horn has to be a continuous one. And you know, inside town, on is forbidden. Only when you're driving on an emergency. But outside town, that is when you can use on. You can use on to prevent accident. You can use on to call the attention when you are trying to overtake outside of town. But inside town, remember, the only time you can use on is maybe you are negotiating a kind of narrow bend, and that narrow bend is not having a visibility, and you want to call the attention of the other users to know that you're present on there. So you understand other things like the lateral movement, which is overtaking. Which are the overtaking? And what is overtaking? Overtaking is considered as two vehicles traveling on the same road, and one is traveling faster than the other. So traveling faster than the other is overtaking. But remember, this overtaking's definition is not is not accepted for cyclists. So, and there are two areas that are overtaking is not considered. There are two areas in exam where you don't consider as overtaking. One is when you're moving faster from the entering lane to join the major road. It is not considered as overtaking. On a saturated road, when one lane is moving faster than the other, it is not considered overtaking. Those two areas, you have to have it in mind. And now, what are the overtaking? As a general law, overtaking is done on the left. Overtaking is done on the left side as a general rule. But as exceptional cases, there are two areas where overtaking can be done on the right side of the road. Two cases, only two cases. So in exam, if you're asked what are the exceptional cases where overtaking can be done on the right, these are the areas you have to have attention. One, when you are overtaking a tram that is traveling at the center of the road. Tram, tram are a kind of transport system that assists the bus, the road bus, the urban bus. So tram are always fixed at the center of the road. So you have to, when you're overtaking them, remember that you're driving on the right. So going faster than the tram, because for example, if the tram is doing 40 kilometers per hour and you are doing 50, it means that you are going faster than the tram on the right side. So you're overtaking that tram on the right, because the rail of the tram is on the urban area and is at the center of the road. So you are doing the right race faster than the tram. So you're overtaking the tram on the right. And the second one is when you are overtaking a vehicle that is planning to turn left. The vehicle is waiting at the center of the road and is planning to turn left. So that vehicle that's planning to turn left, I don't have any other choice than to go faster on the right side. So those are the two areas where overtaking is permitted on the right side. Now, inside the town, remember that there's a clearance will leave. Clearance will leave, not to touch each other. Clearance in town is just proportion to the speed and the characteristics of the road. How big the road is and the speed we're doing on that road. That is the clearance. That is the clearance lateral distance we leave in between each other in a built-up area. It is not measurable. But outside built-up area, remember that for any two-wheel vehicle, animal-drawn vehicle, pedestrian, we have to leave 1.5 meters lateral separation for them. And the two-wheel vehicle, two-wheelers, also has to leave 1.5 meters separation for us outside of town. Inside town, no. Inside town, I said, is just proportion to the characteristics of the road and the speed which we are doing on the roadway, which we need to understand that. Now, remember again that the frontal clearance is very, very important. Frontal clearance is just a distance I leave to the vehicle. We don't drive bumper to bumper. You have to leave a good separation distance. Leaving a good separation distance, even it helps you to brake if the car at your front suddenly brake, so that you will not hit that car. So you leaving a good frontal distance will help you to brake in a sudden braking from the vehicle in your front. So, but inside tunnel or underpass and tunnel are the closed area. It's more dangerous. That is area where a distance is measurable. Now, the distance inside tunnel is 100 meters or 4 seconds. 100 meters, or it will take an interval of 4 seconds before you can meet up to the vehicle ahead. So minimum of 100 meters or at interval of 4 seconds, which you have to understand to give. And again, when you are overtaking, there are areas where they say, can you overtake in this question, or can you make U-turn in this question? So what you need to understand, this area, I'm going just to explain little in maneuver 1, which I'm explaining now. By next week when we come on board, we're going to explain maneuver 2, I think, because it's going to cost the lecture for next week. So when you are asked to a question that can you overtake, the first 3 things you have to have in mind is the sign. Does the sign on the roadway permit me to overtake? In the question. 2, does the traffic permit me? The traffic is the saturated area, portion, or oncoming vehicle on the roadway. The 3rd one is the situation of the highway, whether the highway has insufficient visibility. So if the highway has insufficient visibility, I can overtake. So if this 3 is found on that question, in that picture in the exam, you can overtake. You cannot overtake. So it is not possible for you to overtake. So that is the lecture. That is the revision lecture. The revision lecture we have for last week in our class, and why we come on board like this at the end of the week is like having a contact, a physical contact with students, so that in case they have any question and some things done in the week or what they study, they will be able to like get across to the teacher. So now the floor is open for anyone with question or anyone that wants me to explain anything, you can call in. Remember, you can call in through WhatsApp, or you can call in direct call on 620-586-038. My number is on the live chat area there, so you can call in, or you type your question now for me to solve for you. Type your question for me to solve. You can type your question. So we have the room for us to type question, or we have rooms for us to ask your question. So this is question time, student. This is question time. So if you have your question, you can drop your question, or I think there are 3 questions that some student dropped in the class today. The first one on the class that someone dropped today says, is it permitted to transport a child situated between the handler bar and the rider of a motorcycle? The handler bar is the iron in front of the rider of a bicycle. No, you can't transport anybody there. You know, in just like the mentality of palm wine tapper who goes to the farm with the children or the wife, always puts the M at the front like that. So it's against the law to do that. Here, you can't put someone on the handler. No, you can't put someone that is no. It's capital no. That's capital no. So that question comes in the exam, but you can do that. So the another question here, it says, if your physical condition has changed and you need to adapt your vehicle, must you notify the traffic department? It is yes. You have to notify them. I must notify them so that they can take note of the change. Anytime you have any change, maybe physical, you have to, even your personal, your address change, not to talk of physical health, you must notify. That's why when you go to hospital and something happens that has to make that driver become an handicap or not be able to drive, they will notify the traffic immediately, and you have to notify them, because so that we can know the state of things on you. Now another question says, does the sign give domestic animal the rights when crossing the road? Look at the sign we're talking about here. The sign the person is talking about here is the sign. This triangle red that triangle red does not give them, is not a sign that gives them priority. That triangle red is just telling you danger at a proximate junction, a coming up junction, where you have right of way over the junction coming from the left and the right. It does not have anything to do with animal. It's just telling you that you have right of way in that junction, in that fourth junction, over the person coming from either the direction, which is left or right. So it does not have anything to do with it. Another question from student here says, does Class B permit authorize you to ride a motorcycle of over watching exam of over 125 cubic centimeter? Over no. The B license only permits you to ride 125 below in the territory of Spain when you are more than 3 years with your license. That is why the answer is no. In this place, the answer is no. So but when you were expecting a question, like another question might come in another form in exam asking you, can you use your B license after 3 years to drive a motorcycle not up to 125 cubic centimeter? Yes, not up to. But this question is trickish. It's asking you above, over. So be careful of that word. That word has changed the question. So that's why it's no. It's no. You have to go for exam if you're going to want to do anything, because over becomes A license, not A1. Lesser than 125 centimeter cube means A1, which the authority permits you to drive it with your B license after the 3 years of license here in territory of Spain. That is the question we have from students today on our platform, on our class platform. Good. So another question from a student on the live chat says, what effect does depression have on driver? What depression? Depression is it weighs you down when you have it on you, and when you're driving, you cannot ascertain, you cannot calculate very well. So when you're depressed, is like someone is under stress, just like the same as stress. So the effect of that on you is very, 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 very important. It will cause increase in your reaction time, which means you waste time to react to anything on the roadway. You remember, again, it will cause you a lot of problem on the roadway, because the symptoms are like sadness, symptoms are like apathy, symptoms is lack of energy. So which means your reaction capacity is reduced because you lack energy. And remember, it increases your loose focus. You cannot focus very well. It increases your fatigue. You're tired. It increases your sleepiness on steering because you are drowsing on steering. Nervousness is part of it. Irritability, the stress on it too is you lack perception of the surroundings. You cannot calculate the surroundings very well. You have greater insecurity on the roadway, which is due to you start committing errors, and you want the treatment for this depression also is not good for driving. So when you are taking a treatment, you have to understand that it's not good for driving. So I think I'm able to answer your question, Sister Doris. The effect depression has on driver. I narrate everything. I think I narrated everything well in this place. So if your question is clear, you can thumb up, or after the lecture you rewatch, because of the way I'm explaining it, you can also rewatch also. Another question from Sister Haiti here, say, what must be done if your rear wheel skid? Good. Your rear wheel skids. I want to use something to explain to us very well here. Your rear wheel in this case is the two tire at the back. When they say the two tire skids, it means that the two tire lose the adherence of the tire to the wheel. So we skid. When a rear wheel skid to the right, you have to turn your steering to the right. Remember that steering controls the two front wheel. So you turn the steering to the right. So when the wheel skid to the left, when the rear wheel skid to the left, you turn the steering wheel to the left. So which means that when the rear wheel skid, you turn to the same direction of that skid. But remember, when they twist the question in the exam and they say the front wheel, when the front wheel skids, you turn to the opposite direction. For example, the front wheel skid to the left, you turn the steering to the right. So opposite direction is to the front. The same direction is to the rear. Just note that in exam. So Sister Haiti, I think at least if I answer your question and you're clear, you can still relax if you're not clear with any, or you thumb up, or yeah. Sister Doris, another question. Good. I love the way question is coming in now. In acceleration lane, where must you stop if you are to give way? Acceleration lane is the lane that permits you to enter the highway. When you are joining an highway, that road that connects you to the highway, you stop. If you're giving way, you stop at the beginning of that road, joining the road, because there's always a give way sign at the beginning of it. So which is telling you give way if you realize that the major road is not facilitating your entrance. So at the beginning of the road is where you have to give way, because your place of joining it becomes, let me just see if I can get a picture here for me to just explain what we are talking about. Good. Now look at this. I want to just point out something. This place. So 1 minute. Just 1 minute. Just want to. Good. I want to show this place. Look at this. Look. So I think yeah. Look at this. This is acceleration lane. Wants to join the road. So you tend to give way here at the entrance here. Give way there. So that's that. So another question from Sister Haiti, say, can a pedestrian be forced to take a breathalyzer test? Good. If that pedestrian is part of the accident, like for example, you're walking on the roadway and you cause an accident. How can you cause an accident when you cross wrongly? you cross on the roadway wrongly, on a conventional road or any road where you are permitted to walk, and you were the one that caused the accident. So when the officers come, you will be forced to carry out the breathalyzer test. So it is possible. It is possible. A pedestrian can be forced to when you are involved. When you are involved, but when you're not involved, I'm walking on the roadway. I'm not part of the accident. I can be asked to blow a breathalyzer. No, I can't. I don't. But when I'm involved in the accident, I have to join them to carry out this. Any other question? Any more question? Please let the question roll in if you. And remember that you can also call in on 620-586-038, 620-586-038. You can also call in. Please. If you have any other question, please let's roll it in. Let's roll it in. We are still here live. If you have any question, any other question from us, from student, we still have a long time here. And remember, I said this topic is very important. It affects, it's helpful even for you. If you've gotten your license, it's helpful. Maneuver is something, a daily activities which has to be part of you, and is something that is very important. And driver's license is beyond you having it for fancy. Is now important. It's very important. I could remember a student called me from UK and said, "Oh, teacher, thank you very much for years back when I got mine from you. And today I was able to fit in UK with this license." And then I forced the student to have it. The student does not even have it in mind that he's going to relocate to UK. But today he's in UK and it's so wonderful. So if you're a student, you will understand that people are even passing than even as necessary. So it's very, and even this coming week, we have students that are going to give us a good result also, because we take time, we are available to explain, we are available to do the best. Now a question comes in: what is the most common motorcycle accident? The most common motorcycle accident is this frontal collision. The frontal collision, motorcycle tend to hit you with their front tire to your bumper. The frontal collision, they always that's the most accident of motorcycle. They collide with you from the front. They tend, if you see a motorcycle rider, they hit you. You understand me? They hit you from the frontal collision. So that's the major accidents that a motorcycle do have there. What is the characteristics of efficient driving? The characteristics of efficient driving, you remember that I explained one time in one of our topic, which is found on unit 14 or unit 13 of the new book, and chapter 14 in the book, which is the efficient driving, which in the whole book we can get it in on subheading 382. The new book is towards the end of the unit 13. And I explained that the efficient driving is the same thing as economical driving. Economical driving is a technique. It's a technique of you saving fuel. It's a good technique, which is very, very important. It's an attitude of you saving fuel up to 10 or 25%. And it reduces your vehicle maintenance, which you have to understand. It reduces contaminating emission, which is the atmospheric and a kind of acoustic reduction, it increases your safety. Remember, it increases your safety and your comfort. As a kind of technique, they complement this preventive driving. So they complement preventive driving and the efficient driving. They are the economic way of managing your fuel. So you economize is efficient driving. It's different from preventive. In exam, preventive driving techniques is different from efficient. I told you efficient is economic driving also, but preventive driving, in case in exam, if you go to exam and they ask a question about preventive driving, that's the techniques of preventing accidents. That one is techniques of preventing accidents. But economic driving is the techniques of saving fuel and reducing contaminating emission. Any other question from us? Any other question? I told us where we can get it in our manual. And now another question from Sister Haiti. I love this. He said, is it permissible to drive with a deficient engine muffler? What is a muffler? A muffler is the exhaust. What is the purpose of the exhaust? The purpose of exhaust is to silence the noise that the engine emits out, the engine brings out. That is why they call it silencer. And remember, if you don't have a silencer on an engine that is working, the noise will be high. Let me relate it to something that is local to us in Africa. If you've been to where the Grand Pepe, where they dry. Remember when we are small, we enjoy going to Grand Pepe, Grand Beans from Pepe, because we're going to help the owner to like play with the machine, ground also. But most time when that person just have a new machine with the exhaust not broken, the machine is not making noise. But as long as you start using the machine and the machine exhaust is rusted and is like has a kind of punctured, it starts making more noise. Why? Because the exhaust pipe, which is the silencer, which is the muffler, is leaking and noise will come out. So it is very important for every vehicle to have a kind of muffler. Not deficient. The defective one will cause you increase in fuel, and it will contaminate it, polluting the atmosphere, because you'll be using more fuel. So when you're using more fuel, you are polluting the atmosphere, and it is against the law for you to drive without exhaust. You can't drive without exhaust here, according to law. So you must be with an exhaust so that you can reduce noise from driving. You know, some fancy kind of driver or rider or motorcycle, you see them when they buy a motorcycle, they put O on the exhaust pipe so that it can make a kind of a rocky noise when they are driving. So that kind of noise sometimes just to display the presence when they are driving. So that is a kind of broken muffler also. It's not permitted, but people are doing it. But according to law and in exam, you have to follow it. Sometimes what you see on the roadway might discourage and might not help you to pass exam. So what you need to understand is the bronchial, the manual, which we study, and which is it will be helpful. So I always tell students, whatever we study in the class is what you should apply in exam, not most things you see on the roadway, because most people you see on the roadway, some are not even they are not experienced driver. They can move car. Many people drive vehicle. I remember last week somebody called me and was being arrested of driving without European license, and he called me and I was there. The police was like, they gave you 15 minutes to bring somebody down, and he called, and before driving there it was like 20 minutes, and the police was calling on roadway, and I said, look, my brother, you have to understand that I've been teaching for years and here, and now you're calling me because you are in my area, and you realize that I should be the first person to call. So when getting to the police area, the police said, no, he's driving with a fake license. So they brought a sanction, a two sanction. Sanction is that you want to commit a suicide. Oh, I said, my God, again, you're driving with a fake forged license, which is not their own. Because the person said, why are you charging me for a fake forged license? Because this license is for my country. They said, it's not readable. And I said, my brother, did you get it from the right source, from the road safety in Nigeria? They said somebody did it for him. And I said, no, it's not original. Because now the Nigeria road safety are doing the right thing from if you want to have your license and somebody said he wants to post it to you, I'm telling you, it's a fake one. So you have to screenshot, you have to pass through the normal process, and you get it right. So it's very important that you understand. That kind of person will not understand this theory, will not understand the theory, and he can move car from here to Nigeria, here to anywhere. But the major thing is that it's not a driver. It's not a good driver, but he can move car. But because he's not a good driver, because he does not understand the rudiment of safety on the roadway. So understanding the rudiment of safety is the reason why you have to do this theory, why you have to do this exam. So, and I want to encourage those that are going for the exam and you're having one error or the other, you're failing. Failing does not make you a failure. Failing an exam does not make you a failure. It's until when you give up. When you keep fighting, keep striving, you will get it. There are people that have tried many years, many times, many attempts, but at the end of the day, when they get it, it heals their pain. So you don't have to give up. Don't give up for it. Don't give up. It's your money. Don't give up. When you give up, you forget it. Just keep pushing. That's it. Another question comes up from a student says, in crossway and surrounding area, is it permitted to overtake? On crossway is the pedestrian crossing. Crossway is pedestrian crossing, another English word for pedestrian crossing. And also the surrounding area is an area where you are residing, people resides. Are you permitted to overtake? You have to be very careful when you're overtaking, getting to a pedestrian, because overtaking a vehicle, that vehicle might see a pedestrian coming and is reducing speed, and you going ahead to overtake will be dangerous. So it is not permitted to overtake on a crossway or cross path or pedestrian area, because it's against the law, because doing it might invite accident to other users. So you have to be very, very careful for this when you're doing this. So any other question from anyone? So, and again, I told you, if you don't want to be a student and you just want our materials, we have a better price for you to give you the material, and we get the material, we'll post it to you, we'll send it to you. And we can also assist sometimes, because some students, they call and they say they want material, and they call and we get the material, we post it to them outside Spain, in UK, Germany, Norway. We post to our students and they get it clear, and they come here to do the exam and they pass. And if you want to be our student, as I said, we have its easy way of being a student. You pay, we get material across to you. We can even fractionalize your payments, and we make it real for you. We make it real. We make it real. We make it real. The time getting it does not matter. People get it faster. Some people get it, but our contract is until you pass. Until you pass. Why? And we are available 24 hours to explain any stress, any problem you might encounter in your study. And when you are doing your own personal study, also you have us ready to assist, to explain to you or whatever we have. And remember that we run our class with tests on our group page. On our group page, if you're not a student, you won't be there. This is just, I know this is extended to people that are viewing free of charge, but it's just a means of assisting other people that cannot come to our school, that needs to benefit. So if you're watching this, you can help us to subscribe. Don't just watch it free. I know a lot of people watch. We have a lot of viewers, 1,000, 1,005 after the live video in just a day. And I keep thinking, if 1,005 can view this and none of them subscribe, it's so funny. And please, let's subscribe if you drop a comment, or you like, or you encourage us how we can make it more perfect. So I think if there's no question again, I think we'll be calling it a day. And anytime you need a question. If a small amount of alcohol is injected, the small amount of alcohol injected on you, remember that it will affect your driving. It will affect your driving. It is better you are on 0.0 gram or 0.0 milligram per liter. That is without alcohol. That is the safest. The safest alcohol level is 0.0. But because the company of alcohol is paying tax, so they limit a number that you should drink. But as a new driver, don't go more than 0.15 milligram per liter in your breath, or 0.3 gram per liter in your blood. But as a driver that is more than 2 years, 0.25 milligram per liter in the breath, 0.5 gram per liter in the blood, because they give you a grace. But the best way is 0.0. Just like I don't drink and I'm small, so the 0 is better to be 0.0. That's it. So little injection of alcohol in you will hurt. And remember, alcohol acts differently on people. Someone who does not drink at all, if he just taking a little alcohol, might react. And remember, alcohol is of different type. We have the fermented and we have the distilled. And remember that the fermented stays longer in the body than even the distilled. So according to the physical characteristics of the person who put it in, will determine the level of alcohol in you. So any other question? Any other question from anyone? Any other question? Thank you so much. Well, thanks so much, Mr. Haiti. Thank you, Sister Doris, for coming on board. Thank you very much, Sister Doris, for coming on board. Thank you. Let me just see those that were able to be on board today. Thank you. Thank you, Roland Richard and hi G baby. And thank you, Sister Haiti, for the lovely, and Sister Doris for the lovely time we had today. So I really appreciate your time. I really appreciate. I know most other students are just working, and please help us to share on the platform so that they can benefit from this. So I remain your Steve Teller. I'm available to make it real, and I'm making it possible. Just tell somebody on the road, I'm making it possible. We are making it possible as I come your way next week again. We are now coming live every Saturday because some of my students, they are the key. They said we should make it Saturday, so not Friday. So we come back Saturday next week, live on YouTube, and explaining to you what it's all about, how to pass, how to make it easier for you to pass your license. Thank you very much as I come your way again. God bless you.